Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamini Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. So today we have 4 topics to cover. And then I think we start because we cannot be more than 1 hour since I have a video conference right after this one in Italian. So there is some half-hour gap. So I have time still, Right. So so the first question, maybe Yamuna can read your question. That's your question.
Yes, of course, Gurudev. I can find it in its original form, but basically, I just wanted you to explain why it is that you're wearing saffron-colored clothing now, and what does it mean to be vanaprastha or sannyasi? These what are the distinctions? If you could explain that. You've explained it already in Spanish, but we would like to hear it in English. Thank you so much.
Sure. So according to the Varnashrama system that we follow, although not fully, but we still follow some section of the Varnashrama society. Srila Prabhupada wanted the Varnashrama society, but this is another topic. So the Varnashrama society has 4 Varna and 4 Ashram. Varna means the social position or the social reality. So we have Brahmana. Brahmana are the intelligent part of the society. They take care of studies because a society without learned person is like a body without a head. You don't know what to do. You don't know where to go because you don't have intelligence. So it's very important to have Brahmanas. And Srila Prabhupada came to the West with the idea, first I train Brahmanas up from my Western disciples. And yes, he was successful in our movement. In the past, present, and in the future, we surely be even better. We had many qualified devotees who are very learned and also at the same time very much capable of worshiping the deities, because Brahmana has to do basically these 2 things. Has to study and obviously teach, and then he has to take care of the deities. This is Brahmana. Then we have Kshatriya. Kshatriya is the manager, the president, the warrior. This is Kshatriya. Kshat means to protect. Someone who protects the society by giving laws and etc. Then we have the Vaishya. Vaishya is those who provide wealth, but not for himself, for everybody. The whole Vaishya community has to provide for everybody. Brahmana, Kshatriya, Shudra, etc. In the form of working in the land and milk from the cows. This is wealth. Then we have Shudra. Shudra doesn't really know what to do anything. They help. Shudra are very important. This is the 4 Varna. This is the organization of the society. Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. Each one of these four categories have hundreds of subcategories. It's not just these four. Then we have the the um, the ashram. The ashram is something different, and now we'll explain what is an ashram. Ashram, when you are born and after some time you start going to school. This is what it happens in our society. In the Vedic society, it was the same. At a certain age, the young man goes to Gurukula. Guru means teacher, and Kula means school. Okay. Then he stays there for the Vedas divide these four ashram in 25 years each. So brahmacharya up to 25, 25, 50, 75, and then sannyasi up to 100. But this is obviously just a number that can be a little less or little. It's just an indication. So during this period, the guru will see who his disciple is, and he will direct him to become a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, if to marry or not to marry. If he will marry, then and then it becomes a grihasta. Griha means home. Sta means to stay. Okay, so that's the grihasta. So in our movement, grihasta were white. You know, that's why I have been wearing white for, I don't know, 48 years. My son is 46. Then for 45 years I've been in white because I've been married. It doesn't really matter if someone is actually a grihasta. A grihasta is to go to have a job and maintain the family. So although I had a son, I never really had a job because in a way or in another, Krishna just maintained me. If you ask me, how did you maintain yourself until I don't know. I really don't know. I had to make an effort or memory to remember where the money in my life came from, but they always came. So in white, you are a grihasta. Then at a certain age or for circumstances, then you become a vanaprastha. Vana means forest, and prastha means to go and stay, to reside. That's a prastha. Okay, so vanaprastha is someone who goes to the forest. In our movement, we don't go to the forest. The only forest, vana, that we go to Vrindavana or Vrindavana. That's actually this sounds like a joke, but it's actually it came from I take it from Srila Prabhupada, who said that we should go to the forest, but between parentheses, the forest is Vrindavana forest. So, and at that point, the Vanaprastha that should go with a wife generally, then they are both Vanaprastha, man and woman. When the man is too old and the children are grown up, then the woman goes back to his family with his children, they maintain her. Okay. In our movement, some little different. You know, normally the Vanaprastha wears white also, you know. But in our movement, if a devotee, the devotee has been, I have been a Vanaprastha in white for 4 years. Also with my wife, we spoke many times, and we considered the both of us as Vanaprastha because we didn't have any intention to have children. in our age, we don't do children. And also we were preaching full time. We didn't have a job or things like that. And even our house was just an ashram where we lived. So but in certain situations like mine, Vanaprastha is like an introduction to sannyasa. Because my wife is gone and my son is grown up, doesn't need me, certainly not my wife needs me or anything. So I decided to take Vanaprastha in the direction of sannyasa. And that's why my clothes changed, because this is the color of renunciation. White means griha, uh, and, and saffron is renunciation. Renunciation from what? From materialistic life, actually. It's not a huge difference. It's not that sannyasi or vanaprastha or grihastha or brahmachari, they have uh, incredible austerities, like going on top of the Himalaya. Say brahmachari, they would. That's our life is a preaching life. Studies and preach, and living in ISKCON with the deities and all the things. When someone takes a sannyasi, means no way I'm going back to marry again. No way I'm going to. Obviously, I never had, but then I'm not going back to have a job to maintain myself. If Krishna and my disciples and they want to maintain me, thank you very much. Otherwise, I just starve. Doesn't cost much to die. Why to live is very expensive. If I don't have money to live, then I go. Who cares? So this is basically, of course, I'm kind of joking. I'm not going to starve at death, obviously. So this is why I put myself in suffering. Okay, so if we don't have any question, but I think we should do this way. We should explain all the 4 topics that we have, and then at the end we do questions. Do you agree?
Yes, thank you, Gurudev.
Yes.
Yeah. So the second question
Yes.
is again from Yamuna, and your camera turn on is very much appreciated. For it's not compulsory. It's appreciated because of, of how it comes in YouTube. Anyway, I just saying it. Okay, so the second question was about Kartika. Do you want to say something, or just you want to know something about Kartika?
Well, I just know what everybody knows, that there's a big deal made about this month, and that everything, I know a specific story about Krishna being bound by by Yasoda. But I know that they say during this month that all of your devotional services is worth so much more. And well, I wonder
Yeah.
what sets this month apart, really?
Well, just like the holy place, like Vrindavan and Mayapur, why they are more important? Well, because Krishna likes it, and Kartika is very much loved by Krishna, and because so many important things happened in this month. First of all, the word Kartika means Radharani. That's the name of Radharani. Of course, we know that the Puranas say that Kartika comes from Kartikeya. That's also true. But at the same time, Kartika or the month of Damodar is the month of Srimati Radharani. Just like the next month, Margashirsha, is going to be the month of Krishna. Okay, so it is very blessed because so many wonderful pastimes happened. And so I think I can do a list. Of course, I cannot tell you all the pastimes, otherwise we'll be here 1 week, maybe 1 month or one life. But I just can mention a few very important pastimes happened in Kartika. But so first of all, let me say something about who says what about Kartika. Okay. So first of all, there is no sufficient knowledge or sufficient time in life, in human life, to glorify sufficiently the pastimes of Krishna in the Kartika Masa. Masa means month. Okay. Kartika is another name of Radharani. I already said it. In the Purana, it said that Kartika is a month of Kartikeya, the son of Lord Shiva. But actually, it's true also, but it's also true that deeply the Kartika is the name from Srimati Radharani, you know. Brihasama Tatasam Nam, that's the Bhagavad Gita. The inni del sama of the hymns, so in the getting confused with these languages. Of the hymns in the Samaveda, I am the Brihasama. And of poetry, I am the Gayatri. Of months, I am Margasirsha, the next one. It's actually the month of Krishna. November, December. And of seasons, I am the flower bearing spring. And the benefit of performing devotional service in Kartika are multiplied. Therefore, in Kartika, we should minimize bodily activities and maximize spiritual activities. So let me tell you some of the pastimes, because we don't have so much time, you know. So let me just make a short list of the pastimes. So first of all, the Govardhan Puja. Govardhan Puja. You know the story. Who doesn't know the? Yeah, all of you knows Govardhan, the Govardhan Lila. You know, Govardhan Lila is the reto, the challenge to Lord Indra on the part of, of, of Krishna. And then before Indra started to, how you say it, to deluge, to send
the
much
rain,
water. Yeah. Inundate. Before inundating Vrindava, there was a Govardhan Puja. Govardhan Puja is not about Indra. Govardhan Puja is about Govardhan. Because Krishna said, don't make this yagya for Indra. Do it for Govardhan. Because he's you more useful. Because he said that Krishna said, because Indra is not that sends a rain because he's kind. He's obliged. He spoke the Karma Kanda philosophy. So and then they made this great offering to Govardhan, and Govardhan came in a gigantic form and ate all these wonderful pastimes happened in a place called Aniora. You know the pastime of Aniora. Aniora, give me more, you know. Govardhan was eating all the offering that the pastorcillo, come se dice?
or cowherd
The
boy.
coward man, coward boy is offered to him, but it was not enough. He was very hungry. So he started to eat, and they said, give me more, give me more. And give me more in Sanskrit, they said, is anior. And there is one very nice um, town, quite large actually, called Aniora. Today is known as Anaur, but it is Anior, Gimi Mogi. Then there is the Sharadia Rasalila. This is the Krishna dancing with the gopi. This is the autumn Rasalila, which is the most beautiful of all. Then there is Krishna killed some demons like Shankasura. And also Aristasura was killed in Kartika. And in Kartika, Akrura came to Braja. Akrura came, or we call him Krura. Cruel. Krura means cruel. So he went to Braja and to take Krishna, to bring it to Mathura, to fight in the arena. And everybody would say, you are not Akrura, which means a non-cruel. You are Krura. Very cruel because you are taking Krishna away from us. So in Kartika, Krura came to Vraja. And of course, the same month, Krishna killed Kamsa in Kartika. In the month, Krishna Balaram, they were initiated by their spiritual master Sandipani Muni in Ujjain. Okay, that is called Upanaya Sanskara, Upanaya, the Brahmana thread. Then there were many pastimes with Narada Rishi. So many pastimes. You can continue on and never stop to describe the pastimes happened in during Kartika. During Kartika, one should meditate on Radha Krishna and leaving behind all material encumbrances. Okay, this is very important. So there is one thing quite important to do in Kartika, which is to offer a lamp, a givwick. You should do that. You should do that. Even if it's something very simple in your house, just prepare a little thing and offer it like this to the deities. You know the story that I told the story not long ago. Who remember the story that I told about the mouse and the deity of Vishnu? Hare Krishna Bhakti Rosari. Who remember the story? Lavanga remembers. Yeah. Well, very briefly, there was an altar. The story is told by Padma Purana, and Sanatana Goswami told the story. A mouse attained perfection during Kartika month by inadvertently offering a lamp to the Lord. In the temple of Vishnu lived a mouse that daily ate the ghee from the extinguished ghee lamps. So you offer the ghee lamps, then there is some ghee remain, and the mouse were going to eat it. One day, when the mouse felt hungry, she tried to eat the ghee from a lamp that was not yet extinguished. So there was some fire. Okay. While nibbling at the lamp, the cotton wick got stuck in her teeth. Since the ghee wick was still ablaze, the mouse, feeling the heat, started jumping up and down on the altar in front of the deities. Soon afterward, she died from the fire. So the all-merciful Lord Vishnu, seeing the mouse jumping between him with a lamp, assumed that the mouse was offering him arti. Out of gratitude, he rewarded her with an exalted human birth in the next life, from which she made further progress and then went back to Godhead. This story is told by Srila Sanatana Goswami in the Haribhakti Vilas. So you can see how Krishna is very merciful. It is just a little devotional service, and he can reward it very much. In the Skanda Purana, it is said, when one offers a lamp during the month of Kartika is seen in many thousands and millions of birds perish in half an eye blink. Yeah. By offering a lamp during the month of Kartika, one attains a pious result 10 million times greater than the result obtained by bathing at Kurukshetra during a solar eclipse or by bathing in the river Narmada during a lunar eclipse. So Kartika is very blessed. This is a very important month. Try to do more devotional service as possible in this month because you are going to get a lot of benefit. So let me tell you a few things about Kartika. The chief aim of serving this Urja Vrata is the Kartik Vrata. It's another name of Kartik Vrata. Vrata means the vow. You make a vow. I'm going to chant 20 rounds of this month. I'm not going to chant just 16. This is a Vrata, it's called. And it's called Urja. Urja means, it's a name of Radharani, also, Urjeshwari actually, the queen of Urja Vrata. Urja means power, very powerful. The chief aim of serving the Urja Vrata is to please Sri Radha Damodara. Srimati Radharani is called Urjeshwari, the queen of Urja Vrata. Only because of this, in order to establish the pleasure of Sri Radha Damodara, the sage Satyavrata Muni uttered the 8th verse of Damodara Ashtaka, the word Namo Radhikaya Todiya Priyai, that everybody who sings every year Damodara knows this verse, which means, my obeisances unto Radharani, your most beloved, the most beloved of Krishna. By the statement, he indicated that the sole activity to be done during the observance of Damodara Vrata is to worship Shri Shri Radha Damodara. This is about Kartika. So if you are not satisfied and you want more, I can go on and on, but we have other questions, so I think we can stop here. But actually, this is a topic that should cover a video conference by itself and not mixed with other questions, because it takes time. There are so many pastimes, so many shastric details to talk about Kartika. Why Radharani is called Kartika, we are going to tell you some other time. Let me see. Well, this concerns me. Srila Prabhupada in Nectar of Devotion said, chapter 12, says the execution of devotional service during Urja Vrata in the month of Kartika is especially recommended to be performed at Mathura, Vrindavan, where I am right now. The Lord does not award devotional service to ordinary persons who are not serious about it. But even such unserious persons who execute devotional service according to the regulative principle during the month of Kartika and within the jurisdiction of Mathura in India are very easily awarded the Lord's personal service. So it's very, very, very beautiful, very nice. Okay, so we can go, I think, at the end, we can just write down your questions, if any, and then we are going to, so now we are going to answer all the 6 questions, and then at the end, we do the questions and answers. So, Govinda, you sent me 2 questions. Can you please read them?
Yes, Guru Maharaj. So the first one, uh, it's saying that Srila Prabhupada many times relays the need to follow Krishna consciousness under the guidance of a spiritual master. In Kali Yuga, especially for grihastas, what does being under the guidance of a spiritual master look like, with considerations like full-time work, raising children, taking care of the wife/husband, physical distance from the spiritual master, etc.? How is that guidance still possible?
Again, as often I say, there is not only one answer to this question, you know. So let's start from the first one, that comes in my mind. Devotional service is not constricted to the body. In other words, to do devotional service, you are not obliged to be personally present with the spiritual master. Because Krishna is transcendental, also meditation is transcendental. So you can serve your spiritual master by meditation. Yeah? Just like you know the story, I told it many times because it's very much favorite by me. Sanatana Goswami cooking the milk. He um, uh, he was meditating on the milk and then he got burned because the milk was. And this is a long story. I'm not going to say it. I said it many times. Meditation, it's also valid because devotion is something from the heart that you want to serve the Guru or Krishna. So it is in your heart, and the heart is not obligatory. It's not you are not obliged to be personally present, but you can do meditation is as good as personal. Just like there are many instances of Nanda Maharaj offering in meditation hundreds of thousands of cows, millions of cows. That's meditation. Krishna consciousness is transcendental. It's not only the body, the only instrument to do devotional service. So you can meditate. But also, at the same time, you can do devotional service in distance, just like in our case. In our case, there are so many opportunities to do service. We already have spoken many times. The most important thing, of course, the first one is to look for a bona fide spiritual master. It's not that you do service or you put question to anyone. Just when you find the bona fide spiritual master, then you first do questions, so you learn, and second, you do seva, because it's not enough to know. We have spoken this, I think, last week or something, because devotion is important to be devotion. You don't learn philosophy and think that now you know Krishna consciousness. If you don't do service, you don't know Krishna. And this is what I. So there are so many opportunities to do service. All of you, this service to me or to your spiritual master, whoever he is. So you are following, and then how to understand if the spiritual master is pleased. We answered this question, I think, 1 or 2 weeks ago. Very simple. You do what he says. If you follow his instructions, he's happy. You don't follow instruction, he's not happy. Because the guru is not just a body. The main reason why the guru is alive is to tell people what to do to advance in spiritual life. So if you do it, he's happy automatically. If you don't do it, if you do 10%, he's happy 10%. If you do like this. Of course, there are also mercy. If you see in Vishnu, he gave a full mercy to a mouse who had no intention to worship him, but he gave a full mercy. Just because in our world there is this, it's not mechanical, it's not mathematical, it's not you do 20 and then you receive 20. If you do 100%, the guru is happy 100%. Maybe the guru gives mercy to someone who didn't do anything. Because this is our world. Our world is not a world of mechanicist. It's not a world of mechanic. You do this and you get that. That's karma. Karma works that way, but not devotion, not bhakti yoga, not Krishna Loka. Krishna Loka works on mercy. And then, of course, you cannot say, okay, then I don't need to do anything. He's merciful. It doesn't work like that. You try to do your best. And then if you do the best, but you cannot be perfect, you cannot do everything. Because in some cases you have family, you have to work, you have to your job, and you have the children cries, and you cannot meditate, you cannot chant your rounds, and all this that everybody knows. So then Krishna knows, the Guru knows. It's, you know. So this is how you do service in the heart, in the mind, and whatever you can do physically. That means like some of you helped me with correcting my books, I think, but in Rosario did a huge service for me. He corrected wonderfully my few of my books, and Yamuna also did this part. There is one or two books, I think, entirely corrected by her, and Govinda tried to do something. I mean, everybody. That's devotion. It doesn't matter how much you do. Of course, it matters, but not so much. If you do something, but you do it with love and devotion, that's enough. Okay? That's my answer. Then we answer the next one, and then we give space to questions. Can you read your other question?
Yes, thank you very much. The second one is, I've been reading Sri Chamatkara Chandrika, and I'm wanting to know what is the proper mood the devotee should have when entering into these kinds of pastimes between Radha, Krishna, and the gopis.
These pastimes are very intimate. You know, as a matter of principle, we should not really read much or discuss much this kind of pastimes. Chamakara Chandrika is one book, probably my favorite, but it's very intimate. You need to be a little spiritually advanced to actually understand. Otherwise, I tell you, I guarantee you, it's just a question of time and you are going to envy Krishna that he has got so many gopis. I have one, just getting old.
Prima, estoy en una reunión. Yo te llamo a la tarde.
So, you're going to become envious of Krishna because you just don't understand the difference with matter and spirit. The concept of Krishna's pastimes as they are transcendental. They are nothing to do with material games between children. At the time when Krishna was playing with the gopi, he was 8 years old. So there is obviously, there was no material lust. Not even us would be lusty at that age. So normally we should start with Bhagavad Gita. That's the first book we should read. Bhagavad Gita teaches you the ABC of spiritual life. And then there is a Srimad Bhagavatam. There is this wonderful exchange of questions and answers between the sage Namisharanya and Sutta Goswami or Sanat or Shukadeva Goswami before Sutta Goswami. So it's very extractive. Srimad Bhagavat, you can learn everything. there are someone who says that Srimad Bhagavatam is enough. You just read the Srimad Bhagavatam all of your life, and that would be enough. I would agree and not agree at the same time. So, so you read, continue to read, because I wrote them. So if I wrote them, means that it can be read. Otherwise, what's the point of writing a book if it cannot be read? At the same time, remember that these pastimes are transcendental, are not material, and don't forget to accompany your reading and remembering Krishna's pastimes with basic philosophy. Maybe half hour with Chamakara Chandrika and half hour with the second canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, like that. Okay. We need pastimes. We need lila. Otherwise, the whole life, just philosophy, become, how you say, in Italian, I remember this word, dry. We become dry, just philosophy. You're not this body, Krishna exists, and then there is a karma kanda, and then there is a jnana kanda, and then there is this, and that philosophy. If you read the Vedanta Sutra, there is no pastime, there are no names, there is just very, very strict philosophy. It takes a lot of intellectual effort to study and understand the Vedanta Sutra, which I started to write many years ago. I can't finish it. It's just too much, But I hope to be able to finish before I die. Okay. So, okay, so there is, basically that's it. There is a question, the first one. Mukunda raised his hands, but I'm sure he is agree that to be gentleman, I would say, the gentleman, and let Bhatti Rosario first. What happened during the creation of the spiritual entities, specifically the ones who take birth in humans, that makes us so susceptible to be inclined to the material world? How come are we responsible of being incarnated with these horrible tendencies as we have been created like this? Can we consider our creation to be a mistake? So first of all, we are not humans, so we have nothing to do with this body. So if we enter into the body, men, women, animal, whatever, that is something that we are not. So why we take birth into the human body? Well, there are several answers to this, and this is a very old debate in our movement, and so I will say what I think. Okay, so there is a very huge mystery about the eternity of the spirit soul that lives from the beginning in a neutral state of called Brahman or Brahmajyoti. And sooner or later, we become attracted to the material world or to the spiritual world, normally to the material world, more possible to the material world. Why? Because we are spirit soul, and spirit soul by nature is active, wants to do things. The Brahman, there is nothing, just light. You just live. You don't do. You just exist. Then this desire to do something brings you to the material world. In the material world, everything is ready for all kinds of spiritual souls The good spiritual soul means that I have certain. It's not right to do that. The spirit soul are all good. The spirit soul comes in the material world. And when it comes in the material world, it comes in contact with the material nature. And we react in a different way. That's why someone is good and someone is bad. Because we react differently. We go in a place and I like it and you don't like it. I go in a place and I like this person, you hate him. Like this. Why? Because during the time, the millions, who knows how many years we have been in this material world, we reacted indifferently. And why we reacted differently? Because we are different. The spirit soul has not created in a factory. Like in a factory, No, every one of us is individual, eternally individual. And that means that even in the same circumstance, we reacted differently. I react in a way, you react in another way, and so on and so forth. Okay? So at a certain point, we kind of started to question the intelligence of being in the material world. That's where our spiritual life begins. So, but this is not an answer to your question. Your question was another one. Can we consider our creation to be a mistake? No. No, we are just like Krishna eternally exists, the spirit souls also eternally exist, and they must be individual. They are different. So it's not a mistake. It is who we are. So when we come, for instance, in this period, historical period, there are men who are obviously, they are just the horns. They are so devilish. They are such a demons, that cause the death of hundreds of thousands of people, and they don't even care. They don't care. They don't care for two reasons. One, because they are not there. That's the first reason. They are not the ones to be killed. And the second, because they don't care. They don't have the empathy to say, no, I will not this war because one person will die. This is what a human being will think. One person will die, then I will not do it because I don't have the right to take one life away. But they don't care. They think that the philosophy justifies the death of millions of people. Just like during the Second World War. It was just philosophical. Philosophically, we are the best race. So we had to educate everyone. So we had to go there and conquer the country and the other country. It was philosophy, just an idea that prompts you to exterminate millions of people. So this is demoniac. Only demons do that. So we are inclined to the material world for a simple reason that in the material world there is no Krishna, or we don't see him. If we don't want to submit to Krishna, but we see him, then we are not free. The freedom comes from the idea that I'm not obliged to go to the spiritual world because I have this material world, but Krishna, no, don't talk to me about Krishna. Don't talk to me about Krishna, because if you talk to me about Krishna, then I will not be able to enjoy. Okay. Let me see what time, because I have. Oh no, I have time. And so that's why the material world is made in such a way that Krishna is not visible. so that we had the opportunity to enjoy without having a, a, a problem of conscience. How you say that in English? The problem of consciousness. How you say that?
Moral dilemma?
There is a word. There is a word about dilemma. Anyway, so this is that's why a material world exists. But even us, we can see that many devotees, they after some time they leave Krishna consciousness just because they feel too much under the light. I'm a Brahman, I have to do this, I have to go, I have to preach, I have to go to the temple and worship the deities. Just let me free. And they go. So let's see what happened during the creation of the spiritual entities. No, there is no creation of the spiritual entities. I know this is a very hard nut to crack in our mind, to accept the existence of eternity. Why we have so much problem in understanding this principle? Well, because we have no experience of eternity. From our birth to our death, we all experience things that begin, and because it begins, will end, us included. So we cannot really understand something we had never any experience. I can tell you about India. Yes, there are houses, houses. There are streets, streets. You can have an idea because you had some experience. But eternity, we have no idea. So Krishna is eternal, and that answers the question. Okay, this and then who did God? If I was born from my mother and father, and then there is the mother and father, my father, then we come to God. So who did God? This is just a very foolish question. Because in the material world, there is beginning and end. In the spiritual world, there is no beginning or end. Either you understand at this point, referring to the general mass of people, or you cannot understand. You are just losing the opportunity to understand that there is another world. That there is another world. Death is not natural. Death is not natural. When you cross the road, you look at your right, you look to your left, you don't want to die. It's not natural to die. Nobody wants to die. If a car comes and gives and invest you, then you feel pain. You don't want the pain. You don't go looking for pain. Why? Because the soul doesn't know what pain is. That's why it's so strange for us, spirit soul, to experience death and pain and old age, just because the soul doesn't know anything about that. Just like that when we identified with the material world, we don't know anything about eternity because we don't know what eternity is. So it takes some study, some reasoning, some practice of Krishna consciousness. Then you will start to actually not accept, because many times we accept something because we must, but to actually feel it, actually have an experience, a deep understanding of what eternity is. So there is no creation of spiritual soul, and there is no creation of even the material world. It's not created, the material world. The material world is eternal. The difference between the material world and the spiritual world is that the forms that the energy takes are eternal, but the forms that the material energy takes are temporary. So the material energy is eternal, but it just continuously changes. No? Things becomes earth, and after some time becomes something else. Our bodies go away, and then our energy becomes something else. This is the difference between material world and spiritual world. Material world is eternal like the spiritual world, but the forms that it takes are all temporary. Mukunda Prabhu, Mukunda Madhava Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my most humble obeisances for glory to Srila Prabhupada. This is amazing class, as you always preach us. So I have two questions. First one is, today is Ekadasi, right? But we have many other brata, like Harivasara Ekadasi, we have also Yamastami, we have Nisimha Chaturdasi, we have Ram Navami. All of them constitute like brata because we have to do some kind of spiritual activity like fasting. So why Gaudiya Vaishnava they consider the most important or powerful brata this Kartika brata? Why they do that? What is the reason, the main reason?
Because Kartika is Radharani. Gaudiya Vaishnava are Srimati Radharani's devotees. So when Krishna tells us that in this month the mercy of Radharani is double, tripled, and 100 times more,
Wow.
then they become very attached. So this is Radharani's month. And so thing is, we don't know, or we cannot identify many of the pastimes that we know as happened in Kartika, because acharyas actually do not care very much about chronology. Sometimes, if any of you have read my book, Nandagram, you can read the chronology of Krishna's life. This is extremely important issue. Who read? Did you read this book, Mukunda Madhava Prabhu? Nandagram.
No, completely, Maharaj.
Please read it. Please read it. Lavanga Mataji, Bhakti Rosario,
Yes.
please. Yamuna read it, I'm sure.
Okay.
Did you read it, Yamuna? No.
I get
Okay.
it. I get it little by little since I help with making the posts.
Yeah.
So I do
Yeah.
read it. Yes.
Oh, yeah, yes, because you posted. Okay, the point is that shouldn't Krishna devotee know Krishna's life? So a great acharya called Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in the 11th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam told us what Krishna did month by month, year by year. Krishna was in Mahavan, and then he went to Chatikar, and Radharani went to Ral, and then they went this, and then they went that. At the 7 years old, he did that. 7 years and 6 months old, he did that. This is extremely important for us, for our meditation, And when I discovered this commentary of the 11th canto by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, I don't understand why the devotees who translated Sanskrit.
Dasarati
This,
Dasani, this one?
huh?
The book called Dasarati Dasani, something like that.
It's called something with Dasarna.
Okay.
But anyway, this is an absolutely important book. So we should. And now you gave me this curiosity to remember the name. we cannot proceed if I don't remember. I'm just disturbed mentally, and I want to remember.
Yes, Maharaj, Sarartha. Sarartha Dasa.
Sarartha Dashabi.
Yes.
Sarartha. Correct. Okay, so we should know about Krishna. We are Krishna's devotees. Then how to know about Krishna? We had the books, and we have the gurus, and we have the sadhus. You know, there is a difference between guru and sadhu. Guru is your guru. Sadhu is everybody. Instructing spiritual masters. And so, yes, we should know about it. We should read as much as possible. So what's the second question?
So my second question is, what is the meaning of Ujjeswari for Radharani? This name is it called my attention so deeply because that's why I make you this question too.
Well, Urja is Kartika, is another name of Kartika. So Urja Vrata means the Vrata of Kartika, what we do, that we had to do, and we don't do what we are not supposed to do during this month. This is called Urja Vrata or Kartika Vrata. It's the same. And Urjeshwari means Radharani because this is Radharani's month. This is her month. Just like we have our preferred book or preferred place to live. And why? Why? No, just because I like. So there are reasons, but actually, if you go deep, the only reason why Kartika is so dear to Krishna is because Radharani likes it. Of course, we have and why she likes it? She likes it because she likes it. That's it. Of course, that I live in Vrindavan, I can give some material explanation because this is the best month, especially after the summer, which has been terrible. Here in Vrindavan, I just couldn't breathe. So hot was. And then when it comes autumn, and then there's a lot of rain and everything goes back green because all the dust covered the green of the trees. So everything is so beautiful and is fresh. You can go out at night and you feel so everything is beautiful. So after the summertime of material life, Srimati Radharani gives us the Kartika or transcendental love that she feels of Krishna. So this is the meaning of Kartika Vrata.
Thank you, Maharaj. Very nice answer.
Okay, so if you have any other question, it's not, we can answer maybe one only, yeah, because
So I have another question, but maybe you had to go.
let me see at what time I had to be in the video conference with the Italian devotees. 50 minutes. Yeah, maybe you give me 10 minutes to wash my I change the curtain. Okay, so we have Mataji Lavanga.
I was Hare Krishna Maharaj. By the way, saffron suits you very well. I was wondering.
What did you say?
I had said saffron suits you very well.
Oh, oh, thank you very much.
Anyway, I was wondering, because we have Kartik, and then every 3 years or something, there's Purushottama Mass. And people say, oh,
Ah.
this is better than Kartik or something like that. So I was wondering, do you have any knowledge about that? Can you
Oh,
comment on the two? You know,
I have a book on Purushottama Adhikamas. It's called Purushottama Adhikamas. Yes, it happens every 2 or 3 years. So I wrote a huge article in Ishvara, por favor, please go to read it, you know. And so since it's quite technical, because a Purushottama Adhikamas it's like a piece that puts together things that they are going far away one or the other, you know. And because there is a difference between a lunar calendar and solar calendar. But anyway, even in the lunar calendar, which has nothing to do with the solar calendar, then the 12 months after sometimes there is some time between them and Purushottamadika Masa, it gets filled up. So please read this article, or maybe next time I can give you more details, because I wrote this article maybe 5 or 6 years ago. I don't remember many details because there are a lot of astronomical numbers and things, you know, about Purushottama Masa. So please go find it. And why is so blessed? Well, because because a lot of pastimes during this period. Also, we have something that we don't study much, and because Srila Prabhupada didn't really, I would say, trained us up on this. It's about the astrology and astronomy, you know, and the influx that they give us. Many times we answer in such a way, like to avoid going to astronomy and astrology. There is no astrology without astronomy. It's nothing. It's just ridiculous. If you want to be an astrologer, you have to be an astronomer, you know. So we constantly receive influx from the planets and the stars and celestial bodies that we don't see, you know, etc. And so, like the moon, you know, our ocean, they come back because of the moon. So it is a scientifically accepted fact that the stars, although the moon is not a star, anyway, the celestial bodies, they have some, how you say, help me,
Influence.
sorry?
Influence on our lives.
Influence, some influence on us, on our body, on our health, on our mind, you know. And if we are not pure devotees, then even in our spiritual life, pure devotee, there is no influence whatsoever. He doesn't care about the moon and Mars, and he just serves Krishna with love and devotion like that. But if someone is not really a pure devotee, he may receive some positive or negative influence. So, should we go to an astrologer? Absolutely not. Don't waste your time, you know. But just know that astrology and astronomy are Vedic sciences. They are there. They are in the Srila Bhaktisiddhanta was a great astronomer, you know. So they are Vedic accepted, bona fide sciences. But to know about this, you should go maybe to India, or if you find a good, a bona fide astronomer, and study. You cannot study astrology on a book, both in this is before looking for books, look for a teacher. Because why you buy a book if nobody is going to explain it to you? Of course, you understand. We are not stupid. We buy a book, we understand something, but better if we talk about the science, you need a teacher. Okay, Mukunda Madhava Prabhu.
I didn't read what I will mention now, but I heard that Srila Prabhupada explained that when we clap or applause in a kirtan, the line of our hand can change, our reaction. So it can be applied to the astrology this point.
Or the clapping of hands?
Yeah. Yes.
I don't know, it's a little hard to put them together, clapping of hands and astronomy. But we know that in Kirtan we have to clap our hands. Yes, it's very beneficial. Prabhupada said it. We should participate to Kirtan, not be passive in a Kirtan. And chant, of course, dance. Krishna likes dancing. And there is a Kirtan, there is Japa. Japa is just for us, private. And then there is a Kirtan for everybody. What is more important? Both. There is no, it's just different. What is more important, pizza or pasta? They're both important. Depends if you are Italian or not. Okay, I think we can conclude here. This meeting in Italian is dedicated to the Italian devotees who left their bodies, they died, and yearly we dedicate a meeting to remember them. So today is the day we come together and we are going to mention their names and tell something about them, how good they are. No negative things. No negative. It's not that. If a soldier gets hurt or dies on the battlefield, what are you going to do? Are you going to criticize him because he's died, or are you going to glorify him because he tried to defend? So let's appreciate everyone. This is our world. Don't criticize, never. Don't find faults. It's not difficult to find faults. Like it's very difficult to find faults in ourselves. So if you really want to criticize yourself, and you will see you will have a lot of work. Okay, so then I think I will stop here. I want to prepare. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very
He's
much.
great. He's
Thank you
great,
very
Manana
much,
Maharaj
Hare
Prabhu ki.
Krishna. Mukunda,
Bye.
gracias por avisarme justo
Thank you
a
very much.
tiempo.
Yay.
Thank you very much.